So tonight is interactive read-alouds, and as Jillian said, we're going to be doing some drawing. So if you could get even a pencil and paper, that would be wonderful. Let me share my screen. Okay. So if you do not know who I am, my name is Samantha King. I am an arts coach with Kids Smart, and this is actually my third year with the Kay Fennelly Institute. I've done a bunch of things. I've been doing arts integration for many, many, many years. And I absolutely love to be a thought partner for summer camps to help stop the summer slide and also make sure that our kids are enjoying literature, because reading is a beautiful thing when you love it. For today, I'm going to turn it over to Jillian so she can just give you a little background about the Institute.
Hey, good afternoon, folks. My name is Jillian De Les Reyes. I'm the Director of Education Youth Initiatives at the United Way of Southeast Louisiana, and I manage the campaign for grade level reading. Thank you for folks that have heard this spiel a bunch of times, but I'd always like to give us a little bit of context of how we got here today. So the Kay Fennelly Literacy Institute lives inside the campaign for grade level reading, and our mission and vision is that every child in Orleans reads on grade level by the time they reach their grade. It's that critical turning point where a child is no longer learning the technical aspects of reading, but reading to absorb new information. It's a really exciting point in time. The main drivers of grade level reading readiness are focused on three areas: school readiness, school attendance, and summer learning. The Kay Fennelly Institute is our approach to summer learning, or what we call summer slide, or the natural learning loss that occurs between the summer months when the school year ends and the new one starts. We now know that there is a much extended, a really extended learning loss due to COVID. So now we call that the COVID slide. So this summer is even more important, and we're really glad you're here with us today. So I just wanted to zoom out to give us a little context of why we're here and how we got here today. So the past 4 years, we've been offering the Institute to summer programs that are interested in integrating literacy practices in their programming and want to learn ways how to better interact with their young people. And for the past 3 years, we've had the opportunity to partner with Kids Smart and their fantastic literacy coaches like Sam, Zeb, and Amanisha that are on our Zoom this afternoon. And Angela is a very familiar face who has been our program coordinator since the very beginning, who was there with the inception of the pilot way back in 2018. So I just wanted to level set, give us just an idea of why we're here so that we can all be on the same page moving forward. So thank you for being here. And thank you for leading us, Sam.
Thank you. So our objectives today, we've got two. Objective one is that summer educators will get some strategies to ensure that their campers are having a positive, motivating, and level appropriate relationship with literature over there. We do know it's summer. We don't want it to feel like school. We want it to feel like an adventure. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. Objective two is to understand how physically involving students in the text promotes joyful engagement and retention of content. So just a little bit of context about me. My role with you would be to be a thought partner, right? I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing what you're about to see in interactive read-alouds for a long time, and I see the joy jump up in the children. There have been children climbing me after they have engaged physically with a book. A lot of times, and especially with certain curriculums that the kids have now in school, they're dry, they're not fun. And I always think that if a kid falls in love with story and falls in love with reading, they're going to become better readers, because it's biologically appropriate that they'll seek out books that they're interested in and read them. Even if they're hard, they'll try. And that's that I would like to bring that to the kids, that there's some level of joy in the written word. So not just the screen, but the written word. What you can expect tonight is that you'll be experiencing activities the way that your campers would. So I'm going to ask you to be 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 in your mind. I am a theater teacher, so I'm going to ask you to get into character. And I would love it if you were present and engaged for our hour and a half tonight. So that means that your cameras are on and your phones are off. And I promise you that you will be having a good time. So you will need paper and something to write or draw with. And if you've got colors, terrific, because we're going to do something with that. So I would like to do a community builder. As I look at our participants, there are a lot of people that I may have met once, but don't know very well, or may not have met at all. So what I'd like to do is something that has to do with literacy, and that would be a collaborative I am poem. This is an example of an I am poem called The Delight Song of Chaui Tali by N. Scott Momaday. It's not the whole poem. It is a beautiful poem, but I'm just going to read a few lines of it. I am a feather on the bright sky. I am the blue horse that runs in the plain. I am the fish that rolls shining in the water. I am the shadow that follows a child. I am the evening light, the luster of meadows. I am an eagle playing with the wind. I am a cluster of bright beads. I am the farthest star. I am the cold of dawn. I am the roaring of the rain. I am the glitter on the crust of snow. So that's an example of an I am poem. What I would love for you to do right now, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes. I want you to think of the things that you are. You're not just one thing, you're many things. And I would like you to put into the chat all the things that you are in 3 minutes, all the things that 3 minutes will allow. So just in the chat, blow up the chat with whatever you might be in all the different facets of yourself, starting with the prompt, I am. Okay, so let us know who you are, beginning with the phrase I am, and write as many I am sentences as you can think of. And we'll start now. About 1.5 minutes. About 1 minute. I love this. Thank you, everybody. Thirty seconds. Aw. Okay. Just finish up what you're writing, or the many, many things that you are. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to scroll back up through the chat. And I'd like you to look for someone else's I am sentence that resonates with you. So you'll be reading everybody's sentences, and something that sparks you, just make a note of it, okay? I'm loving this. Thank you, everybody, for these amazing contributions. So what we're doing now is I'd like everybody to unmute. And basically, we're just going to do this as it comes. We're going to do a collaborative poem reading. Please read a line of someone else's poetry, and we're going to see if we can create a collaborative poem together. Something that resonates with you. And just unmute yourself, and whenever, just feel it. Whenever you want to come in, go ahead and read your line of poetry.
I am in process and growth on a journey. I am trying.
I am the wind that travels uninhibited.
I am blessed.
I am grateful. I am a butterfly.
I am a manifesto of imagination.
I am a lover of dance.
I am an artist.
I am bubbly enthusiasm.
I'm a child of New Orleans.
I am loved.
I am a lover of the beach.
I am sometimes wrong and strong.
I am a caretaker, a community builder, and a daughter.
I am great at what I do.
I'm blessed.
I am confident in who I am.
I am a squirrel eating.
Yes. I am grateful, blessed, and happy.
Thank you, everybody. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful poem. So that's just one way, actually, that you can break the ice with your campers. They love to talk about themselves. So anytime you can get them to list all the things they are, it's also great to self-reflect on who you might actually be and who you might want people to see. So thank you very much for doing that with us and sharing your souls. So I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see here, hold on. This, we've been doing it all year. Everybody's been doing it. Everyone in this room has been Zooming. And it can take a small smidge of a toll. Okay. So I do want to remind everybody that at the base of all of this, I know that a lot of people are really raring to go and have a lot of goals in mind. And I want to remind you that if you're feeling overwhelmed with what you perceive might have to happen in the summer, just remember that at the bottom of everything, literacy is communication. It's the ability to receive and explain ideas. So if your students, if your campers are receiving ideas and reacting to them through either conversation or text, or if they're forming ideas and sharing them through conversation or text, that's literacy. That's half the battle. So they don't have to read 23 books. They don't have to write a novel. You're probably already doing the work that is necessary for them to be ready for next summer. We just want to boost that and make it joyful and fun. So there are two types. This is interactive read-alouds. There are two types of reading aloud. I am a great proponent of both of them. Meditative reading and interactive reading. So meditative reading is the kind of reading that you got when you were a kid, and how we wish we could get it now. Meditative reading is you're lying in bed or somewhere comfortable and somebody reads to you. Believe it or not, when someone reads us, it gives us uninterrupted time to imagine and construct worlds and details. It is actually developmentally essential for developing problem-solving skills and preference definition. So when you're just lying back and passively receiving story, you are inventing all the characters, what they look like, how they speak, what the setting looks like, what that adventure felt like, how you emotionally reacted to whatever's happening in the story. That's actually really good for a child's brain to develop ways to create a situation and work through it. So if you've got that practice in terms of, well, let me see, what does that look like? Or what is that, how could that work? That's actually developmentally essential. So I really recommend, if you can, taking 15 minutes a day and reading chapter books as young as kindergarten. Just go through a chapter once a day with your kids just sitting and listening. Every single kid in that room will have a different idea of what that story looks like and feels like. And we all know when we go see the movie of our favorite book and it looks all different and weird, that's because we've already created the world. It actually exists for us. So super important for kids to have chapter book reading. And I would do chapter book reading, I would, all the way through high school. But if you're thinking, oh, they have to be up and jumping and all that, no, I think that meditative reading, read-alouds are very important. But tonight, we're going to add an element to read-alouds, which is interactive read-alouds. And the goal of this is that both the reader and the listener are actively involved in the story. So this is a picture here of one of my students actually doing the reading and the actors that we picked acting out what she is reading. So they're actively, physically involved in the story. You won't believe the retention value. When you do something physically, you remember it. It's just true about experiential learning. So tonight, what we're gonna do is 2 strategies for interactive read-alouds that you can take right back with you to your camps. There will be more if I am your coach, but I just thought we could have fun with these 2 particular read-aloud strategies. The first one is an alive reading. Some of you have done this already. We did it with a book in the last 2 years called Too Much Talk by Angela Shelf-Medeiros. But I thought, hey, people are coming back, let's do a different book. And I wanted to add a little something too. So at its core, an alive reading is you take the book that you're gonna read to your campers, you look through it. Are there any repeated words? Are there words that people can say together as we go along? Is there any part, or maybe the whole book, where the students are actually acting out what's going on? Are there any sound effects, like areas where they could be thunder, or they could be horse hooves, or they could be the squeaking of a door? Are there any parts where everybody could read a section of the text in unison? Is there any part where you feel, if you've got some advanced readers, where you can select one or more campers to narrate sections of the story for the other campers? Or do you even want to give parts to them, acting out part of the story, where they actually are a part, and when their dialogue comes up, they're actually in conversation with each other in character? One of the things that is highly successful is if you have older campers and younger campers, your job is done, honestly. Older campers and younger campers, put them together to do interactive read-alouds, and it is a gold mine because kids watch kids. Kids care about what other kids care about. So if you have uh, mentors, they really are mentors. If you've got students that are good readers that are older than some of your younger students, and you get them together to share books or share reading or act out things or direct a play, utilize that. Put them together and watch the magic happen, because kids absolutely love to do what older kids want them to do, which isn't always a good thing. But in this context, it is a good thing. Okay. So for our alive reading, we're going to do a book called What? Cried Granny. We're going to be using 3 of the strategies in alive reading, which are repeated words, pantomime, and sound effects. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Whenever Granny says, what? I want you to, as a granny, say, what? Could you unmute and just give that a try for a moment? 1, 2, 3.
What?
Excellent, thank you. You will be the character of Granny all at once. So you will pantomime the things she does. And because she does a lot of really interesting, fascinating things, if you find a sound effect that is appropriate, whenever it is appropriate, go ahead and use your voice and or your body to make the sound effects that could go well with this story. All right. Do I have a thumbs up from everybody that you're ready to go into an alive reading? Yes, thank you. Okay. Here we go, people. I will be your narrator. As I say, you are the character of Granny. I would love to see it on your face. I would love to hear it in your voice. And you're going to be actually doing things that she does. What? Cried Granny. An almost bedtime story by Kate Lum. Pictures by Adrian Johnson. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Patrick who was having his first sleepover at his granny's house. As the sun began to set, Granny said, Patrick, dear boy, it will be dark soon. Time to get ready for bed. But Granny, said Patrick, I don't have a bed here. What? Come on, people.
What?
Cried Granny. Here's where you do your pantomime. She ran out to her yard where some tall trees were growing and chopped one down. She took it back to her workroom, opened her toolbox, and made Patrick a fine bed. Thank you, Zeb. Then she painted it a restful shade of blue, put a comfy red mattress on it, and took it to the bedroom. There you are, dear boy, said Granny. Now, climb into bed, lay your head on the pillow, and sail off to dreamland. But Granny, said Patrick, I don't have a pillow here. What? Said Granny.
What?
She ran out to her hen house, woke up the chickens, that's where you can put in sound effects, and collected a big batch of feathers. You. She took them to her sewing room where she made a bag out of cloth. Then she stuffed it with the feathers, sewed it up neatly, and gave it to Patrick. There you are, dear boy, said Granny. Now, climb into bed, lay your head on the pillow, tuck the blanket under your chin, and I'll kiss you goodnight. But Granny, I don't have a blanket here. What? Cried Granny.
What?
She ran outside and headed for the hills, where a flock of fat sheep were snoozing. She sheared off some of their wool and ran right back home. She took the wool to her basement, spun it into yarn, knitted a fuzzy warm blanket, and dyed it the prettiest shade of twilight purple. When it was dry, she carried it upstairs and spread it on the bed. Now, dear boy, climb into bed, lay your head on the pillow, tuck the blanket under your chin, give your teddy bear a hug, and turn out the light. But Granny, said Patrick, I don't have a teddy bear here.
What did you?
What? cried Granny. She grabbed her emergency sewing kit, tore down the living room curtains, cut, sewed, stuffed, added button eyes and a red ribbon, and made a teddy bear for Patrick. Now, Patrick, cried Granny, climb into bed. Lay your head on the pillow, tuck the blanket under your chin, give your teddy bear a hug, and go to sleep. But Granny, said Patrick, it's morning. Cried Granny. Give yourselves a big round of applause. You did an alive reading, hooray! So I would just like to hear from you in the chat how you felt about that experience. Just maybe even one word. How did it feel to be part of that story? Oh, good, joyful. It was fun. Engaging, happy. It reminded me of my childhood. Exciting, interactive and engaging. Wonderful, thank you. And sometimes, here's the thing about some of your kids. Sometimes they don't, this is terrifying for them. There are kids who don't want to be a part of it, but it does help if they have a friend on this side and a friend on that side, and they're all a part of it together. So if you're going to give your kids parts, narration parts, or actual parts in the play to act out, I would definitely check with them first. Pick the kids that you think need to be heard a lot, because you can tell who they are. And then those kids who might be a little bit shy, they can do it with everybody as a big group, or maybe even pretend to do. It's okay if they're pretending, but they're part of the experience with their friends, which is always fun. And because it gets in their body, they'll remember parts of it better, because body memory, it's an amazing biological advancement that's going to remain with us for years to come. So that is an alive reading. Something that happened I think it was this year that I started adding to my repertoire of interactive read-alouds, was that some of my kids, the kids that need fidgets, I don't know if you have those kids who need fidgets. Some kids cannot sit quietly for any length of time without something physical to do. This helps, interactive read-alouds helps with that. But what also I found helps is doodling. So sometimes I have my kids just grab a crayon, a pen, something, piece of paper, and as the story is going, they're doodling. And what I did was decided that, maybe if they're hearing the story without pictures, they can draw those pictures. So what's really cool is their interpretation of what's going on in a story is just as important as the actual illustrator's interpretation. And what I started doing was, before they see the actual illustrations from the book, they draw their own illustrations. And then we compare and contrast different interpretations of what that story is. So what I'd like to do with you today is what I call story nuggets. And I'm going to actually, this is an actual story nugget illustrated. This is actually my second grade students illustrating the story we're going to do today. So those are the illustrations from the story we're going to do today, which is an old Native American folk tale called The Turtle and the Coyote. It's a trickster tale. You know, all of us have trickster tales in wherever you live, you have a trickster tale. This is one of them. And so what I want to do is this. If you would, I'm going to give you about a minute to gather whatever pen, pencil, crayon, marker, anything like that that you would need. I'll give you a minute to get that, then come back here, or maybe you need to use the facilities. Come back here and I will explain what we're about to do. So 1 minute to get your stuff.
We're going to be drawing, so get colors if we have them.
If you've got them, it would be wonderful. Yes, you don't need them, but if you've got them, terrific. Okay, so everyone just regather. I am putting a link in the chat. Hopefully it works. It should give you access to a Google Sheet. Okay. So the Google Sheet that you get to, if you would go there on your browser, the Google Sheet will look like this. It will say Turtle and Coyote, and at the bottom, there will be different tabs, Sheet 1, Sheet 2, Sheet 3, Sheet 4, etc. Jillian has put into the chat what your assignments are. If you scroll up, you are
Sam,
numbered.
It's changed, so.
Oh, it has changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm putting it in the chat, right?
Okay, so Jillian's going to put in the chat what your number assignment is. Once you get to that sheet, go ahead and go to that tab. So for instance, is Gabrielle still number 1? Okay, so Gabrielle will be working in tab number 1, and you will get a section of the story, a story nugget. You will not have context for the entire story unless you knew it beforehand, and that is actually great for kids. Context is amazing, but if they don't have it, they can play with their imagination first, and it then keeps them very alert when they actually hear the story in context, because they have a section that's already embedded in their mind. So you're only going to get one section. That section you're going to illustrate. Okay? So however you perceive your particular section, you're going to illustrate it. Now, I do have a favor to ask. Because there are 13 tabs, I'm willing to do one. Do I have 2 people who are willing to do 2 illustrations? Jillian, thank you. Amanisha, thank you. Okay, so let's do this. Jillian, will you take tab 12, and Amanisha, will you take tab 13? At 5:27, if you could return with your illustrations ready to go, that would be wonderful. And I will see you back here. Okay, everybody, if you would finish up. How are we doing? Do we need more time, or are we ready? Can you thumbs me up or come back on your, okay, if most of us are ready, fabulous. Now, here's something that occurred to me as I was doing it. I am not a visual artist. There will be some of your kids who are not visual artists. A stick figure is fine if it communicates an idea, right? So here's what we're going to do. I will be your narrator. I'm going to read the story. And when your section comes up, if you would please put your picture up to the camera, we can see your interpretation. Keep it up there until I go to the next section so everybody can really look at it, okay? And it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be beautiful. Remember, you are 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 years old. So we don't expect you to have gone to art school yet. Okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3, action. Early one summer morning, when the ground was cool and damp, a turtle crawled up out of his home in the river. He crawled along, hunting things to eat. He found so many good things that he crawled farther and farther away from the river. He forgot all about old Father Sun, who would come peeping over the hills after a while. If he had been a wise little turtle, he would not have wandered so far away from home. River turtles have to keep themselves damp. If they become too dry, they cannot walk. And if the sun shines too hot upon them, they die. Now, while this little turtle was trudging slowly along, the sun came up and shone right down upon him. He turned around and started back up to the river, but turtles travel so slowly and the sun was so hot that he could only get halfway there. When he saw what trouble he was in, he climbed into a shady hole in a big rock and began to cry. He cried so hard and so loud that a coyote who was passing nearby heard him. The coyote's ears were not very keen, so he thought it was somebody singing.
I must find out that is singing, said Mr. Coyote, and get him to teach me that song.
So Mr. Coyote peeped around the rock and found the turtle with big tears in his eyes.
Good day,
said Mr. Coyote.
That was a nice song you were singing. Won't you teach it to me?
I was not singing, replied the turtle. Coyote got angry.
I know you were, for I heard you, and I want to learn your song. If you do not teach it to me, I will swallow you whole.
That cannot do me any harm, said the turtle, for I have a hard shell that will hurt your throat. Coyote gulped.
Well, if you do not sing for me, I'll throw you in the hot sun.
Ha! That cannot hurt me either, said the turtle, for I can crawl under my shell.
Well then, said Mr. Coyote, I will throw you into the river if you do not sing.
Turtle cried, oh, please, Coyote, do not throw me into the river. I might drown. If you do, please don't throw me in.
I will.
And Mr. Coyote picked up that turtle in his mouth and threw him in the river. The little turtle swam out under the water where the coyote couldn't reach him. Then he stuck his head up out of the water. Thank you very much, Mr. Coyote, for throwing me into the river. This is my home. I had no way to get back here. Thank you for helping me. And old Mr. Coyote trotted away, very angry. Everybody, that was so incredible and so awesome. I would love it if you would take a picture of your artwork, please, and send it to me via email. My email is so simple. It's sam@kidsmart.org. I would love to have that as an example of fabulous work. Thank you so much. Now, I would also, though, like to extend this a smidge into an acting read aloud. If you do have time or you are inclined, there are those kids you've got who want to act. And as a theater person, ta-da. So what I would love to do right now is do an extension, a modification of this story. They've all made their illustrations, but now it's time to get it up on its feet. You'll have some kids who don't want to, and they can be audience members. And to be honest, the audience is the most important group in the room. Without them, we don't have theater. We just have saying funny things in a closet or something. We just, you need the audience. So what I would like to do is ask two people, a coyote and a turtle. I would like a coyote and I would like a turtle.
I think I can handle
They're
turtle.
so afraid. What did you say? Is that you, Tara?
I think I can handle turtle.
Pam, will you be turtle?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Can someone please be my coyote?
On Cousin Ferdinand.
Pam, you are going to be our turtle. Amanisha, you are going to be our coyote. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do, everybody, is pin, if you would pin Amanisha and Pam, which means just go to their square. I'm going to pin Pam. And I'm going to pin, I wonder if I hope I can pin. Yes, and I'm going to add Amanisha as a pin. Do you see now they are both front and center? I'm going to ask you to get into character. So think about how Turtle talks, how he moves, what his attitude is. Of course, Amanisha, I need not tell, such a professional, but if you would please be as coyote-ish as you can. I will be your narrator. And here we go. Can I have everybody, even though you are muted, and Amanisha, you'll want to unmute, to say 1, 2, 3, action, and then we will begin. 1, 2, 3, action. Early one summer morning, when the ground was cool and damp, a turtle crawled up out of his home in the river. Thank you, Pam. He crawled up, hunting things to eat. He found so many good things that he crawled farther and farther away from the river. He forgot all about old Father Sun. He would come peeping up over the hills after a while. If he had been a wise turtle, he would not have wandered so far from home. River turtles have to keep themselves damp. If they become too dry, they cannot walk. And if the sun shines too hot upon them, they die. Now, while this little turtle was trudging slowly along, the sun came up and shone right down upon him. Now you can play the sun. You can play the sun. Thank you. Excellent. He turned around and started back to the river, but turtles travel so slowly and the sun was so hot that he could only get halfway there. I hope you were recording, Jillian. When he saw what trouble he was in, he climbed into a shady hole in a big rock and began to cry. He cried so hard and so loud that a coyote who was passing nearby heard him. The coyote's ears were not very keen, so he thought it was somebody singing.
Find out who that is singing,
said Mr. Coyote,
and get him to teach me that song.
So Mr. Coyote peeped around the rock and found the turtle with big tears in his eyes.
Good day,
said Mr. Coyote.
That was a nice song you were singing. Won't you teach it to me?
Turtle, we're on sheet 8.
Was not singing, replied the turtle.
Coyote got angry.
I know you were, for I heard you, and I want to learn your song. If you do not teach it to me, I will swallow you whole.
Cannot do me any harm,
said the turtle.
For I have a hard shell that will hurt your throat.
Coyote gulped.
Well, if you do not sing for me, I'll throw you into the hot sun.
Cannot harm me either,
said the turtle.
For I can crawl under my shell.
Well, then,
said Mr. Coyote,
I will throw you into the river if you do not sing.
Turtle cried.
Please, Coyote, do not throw me into the river. I might drown if you do. Please do not throw me in.
I will.
And Mr. Coyote picked up the turtle in his mouth and threw him in the river. The little turtle swam out under the water where the coyote could not reach him. Then he stuck his head up out of the water. Sheet 12.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coyote, for throwing me into the river. Hello. This is my home, and I had no way to get back. Thank you for helping me.
And old Mr. Coyote trotted away, very angry. I am, that was unbelievable. You had to really give yourselves a round of applause. That was incredible. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Amanisha.
While you're going to your other screen, I did want to share, I could see how this would be so much fun for the expressive kids to do. Like, I had a lot of fun doing it. I think Pam too. And there's always at least one or two kids who like to get up in front.
There are those kids.
They're going to be doing it too.
They're usually the kids that you can't get to follow directions or something. And the reason is they want to be heard. So give them a spotlight. Like that kid who just acts out because he wants everyone to look at him. Let them look at him. You know, it's a perfect way to go, oh, I see you. Really, I see you. And you'd be great for this. So everybody, those are the strategies that we're going to be engaging in tonight. I would love for us to do some reflecting on what that felt like and how you may use it again. So what I've got here is called a Mentimeter. Not sure if everybody knows what that is. And we learned so many of these strange, wonderful things during this pandemic. So this is called Sparks and Snarks. And what I would love for you to answer are what are some sparks, what inspired you about today, and what might be some challenges from today. Here we go. Okay, so we have, it's starting to populate. I enjoyed trying to draw the picture of my part of the text. Since we had so much time, I kept adding details. Yes, I would definitely give them time. There's no rush in art. And it's such a nice meditative flow activity. It's really good for them to focus and get settled and interpret and think. It's a really good exercise for grown-ups and for kids, actually. Spark, it was great to smile and laugh this. I'm so glad you smiled and laughed this afternoon. Seeing other people's illustrations was cool. Yes, it was. Seeing that, you know what's interesting? Seeing the talent that people have. And kids will respond to that as well when they see that there are people in the room with wonderful talent that they may not see every day. It was cool to hear the benefit of being read aloud to, meditative, yes. Today's exercises made me play again, yay. Thank you for stirring up creativity. You're welcome, thank you. I can definitely see how drawing can make us focus. Snark Spark, my art looks like a 5-year-old did it, but guess what? 5-year-old art, I mean, have you really ever turned down 5-year-old art? Just yesterday, I received these nuggets from my kindergartners. 5-year-old art, it's the best art ever. It's the greatest thing that ever happened is 5-year-old art. It's wonderful. So I love your art. Thank you for doing it. Don't change. Challenge to step out of your comfort zone. Yes, it is. But it was very interactive and made me smile. And thank you for participating and getting out of your comfort zone. And if you have a friend there with you doing it, hopefully that makes the comfort zone easier, that there's comfort in your zone. Love to see everyone's different interpretations in their drawings. Choral responses, illustrating story sections, physical movement with the narration and character voices. You're enthusiastic, thank you. I tried to be enthusiastic. My drawings look like a 5-year-old's as well, but hey. Or they look like Hanna-Barbera, which is those are the cartoons I grew up on, so what are you gonna do? Partner in group, getting better for us shy folks. And believe it or not, I am one of those shy folks. I'm a total introvert. And so being with you makes things much, much better. So thank you so much. So everybody, thank you so much for today. Jillian, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to say?
Sure. We have 2 more workshops coming up next week at the same time, 4:30 to 6 p.m. next Tuesday and Thursday. You have calendar invitations for those upcoming sessions. I don't have the names of them up right now. Let me grab that. But if you have not registered, please do so. They are unique links, and it just gives us an opportunity to prepare and plan for these sessions. So on Tuesday, we will have literacy integration. And then on Thursday, we will have literacy centers and stations workshops. So please register. We would love to have you again next Tuesday and Thursday, 4:30 to 6 o'clock, same time. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you. Thank you to all of our artists and participants. This was so much fun.
I look forward to working with you. And do come to these next sessions, because what's wonderful is all of them, the writing, the read-alouds, your literacy centers, integrating into enrichment, into other activities, it all goes together. So it can all be joined together and make a bundle.
And
not
please,
like
sorry.
flow.
Please share the invitations with members of your team that need to be in these sessions or you think would benefit from participating. We would love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We're ending a little early. Yay, enjoy your dinner, enjoy your weekend, and we'll be talking to you very soon. Thank you.